Welcome back, Marty here with Warehouse and Operations as a Career. Everyone has had a productive, prosperous, and safe week, I hope. It's been a really busy one here, but busy is a good thing. Means there's plenty to do and get done, right? This week I've had a couple of companies preparing for, or I guess you could say wrapping up a move recently. One has already relocated to their new building, and another one is in the planning stage. I'm anticipating them to gear up sometime over the next, 45, 60 days or so. You know, there's a lot of work, a lot of planning that goes into such a project. Besides all the logistics required to move all that inventory without affecting our customers and your receiving or shipping departments, you'll need to write or rewrite almost all of the procedures and processes. Everything from the evacuation routes, your paperwork flow, points of contact, safety procedures, all the hazard analysis sheets, job descriptions, the SOPs or standard operating procedures, everything like that for each position. Oh, and we may need to look at our GMPs or those general maintenance practices and even our sanitation policies. I got kind of interested in it and I pulled out an old move chart that I used once. There were 214 lines to it, and after we started the move, we probably identified another 214 things that we should have thought of. Also this week, I worked a little on an upcoming class for frontline supervisors. We've talked about almost all of the responsibilities that we could run across as a supervisor before. At least I think we've hit the high points. I was thinking about the move list both of these companies were building and how many of those tasks landed in our laps as supervisors and even associates or employees. Here at WAOC, we're all about getting noticed by our management teams. That's really the only shortcut to our learning and kind of planning out our careers that I've come across. Our management team needs to know what our plans are. There I go. That's a whole other show. Anyway, I'm asked about every other week, how do I get promoted or how do I change departments? And Marty, why are you always talking about getting promoted? With my focus this week being on facility moves and frontline supervision, I thought why not get a few of those questions out of the way? I mean, with all the open positions that a move or a building recalibration can open up, and the possibility of a few more lead or supervision jobs created, I think it'd be worth looking into those thoughts. Okay, let's look at that last question first. It's definitely the easiest one to answer. It generally comes across something like, Marty, why are you always saying we need to chase and or prepare ourselves for a promotion? Well, let me share my feelings about that. I feel that if you love your job and it provides you the income you need to enjoy life and take care of your families, you're doing exactly what you should be doing. And when you're happy with your work, you're probably going to be the best in the building at it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing what we're doing, and we should probably keep doing it. But if your goal is something else, being an equipment operator or a machine operator, maybe having a title, which I hope isn't anyone's dream, or to make more money and we're just using our present position as a stepping stone to somewhere else, then we're going to have to use promotions or changing departments to get us there. So promotions. You know, when someone comes to me asking about a promotion, I always ask them why. Honestly, many times there's no answer, or the answer is something like, well, doesn't it pay more? If we can't answer the question of why do we want it, we may not be ready for it. We may not know what the job entails and really the responsibility that is going to come along with it. Another thing we need to understand is where can it take us? Sometimes jumping into a new situation, especially if we don't understand it, can really end up costing us dearly. We could get stuck in a dead-end position, or we could end up losing our job because we had no idea what skills we need and we hadn't prepared or educated ourselves to them. So when I'm asked, how do I get promoted? I always ask the individual, promoted to what? More times than not, that's answered with I don't know, I just want to make more money. Isn't that kind of like just taking a job without doing any research on our new prospective employer? And I'll fill you in on a little secret. Whatever the task is, without educating ourselves to it and knowing how to perform it or having the contacts or mentors to make it happen, it'll cost us more than we would have made, probably even losing our own job. That sounded a little harsh. What I mean is, and let's say that I'm a barrel maker. My job is to cut the slats that form the barrel. And I've heard that the banding department makes $2 an hour more than the slat department. So I end up going and telling my manager that I want to move over to the banding department. Only thing is, I know nothing about the banding department. I don't know that the turnover is really high over there. They work around hot steel, forming the barrel rings, bending and shaping them. I don't know anyone that works over there either. It's a no-access area because of the safety training needed to work over there. Well, of course, my boss jumps at the opportunity to promote me. He sees an employee that comes to work every day, I'm always on time, and really a can-do attitude. So guess what? I've just been promoted. I've been promoted into a position I may not like at all, but guess what? I'm making $2 an hour more, or at least as long as I'm working over there. Now that's a bit of an extreme example, but I think you get the idea. I'm always talking about planning and goals. I think we have to use the same philosophy when we're talking about promotions. Let's take our example a little farther. Let's say I could have made a lateral move, or a move at the same pay rate to the drying department from my slat job. Now they use powered equipment over there, and I could get on-the-job training that would get me a $2 an hour raise and the opportunity to further advancement to the shipping department. And since we're just exploring the possibilities, let's add that working in the banding department can afford us an opportunity to become a welder. Maybe we can even advance to working with the bending machines. That sounds pretty interesting. The moral to the story is we answered the question of why do you want a promotion by saying I want to make more money. We should have known something about the high turnover, the heat, and all the safety training, and the opportunities to learn a great trade after putting in our time. Then there's the other path, moving into the drying department, becoming an equipment operator, and on to the positions that can come after that. I always encourage an associate to come back and see me in a week, and let's discuss the position he or she wants to move to. I try and leave them with a few things to think about. Maybe like review that position's job description and study the SOP sheet or the standard operating procedures for that job. Talk to someone performing the task already. Get to know some, if not all, of the crew. We could find it wouldn't be a fit even if we got the job. Ask around, where can this task take us, or what opportunities will this department open up for me? Maybe check and see what's the management like. Is the training adequate, for the position? Ask around, maybe ask a few of them if they like their job. I'd suggest always checking out and seeing, who they hang out with. Would they all fit into my lifestyle? Take note that I never bring up money to them. Now, of course, money is important. That's what pays the bills. But as I've said, we're into this work thing for the long haul. I hope we're all planning out our career path. Not thinking about our wages that we're earning tomorrow, but planning on the wage we want to be earning in 2 years, 5 years, 15 years, even 25 years from now. That needs to be our goal. Honestly, $2 an hour isn't going to change anything if that's all we're going to experience for the next few years. Oh, that reminds me of our savings plan we learned in January. The episode was New Year, Plans, Savings. I think it was January's 2nd show. Anyway, it was a savings plan based on the weeks in a year. In other words, week 1, we would put $1 into savings. Week 2, we'd put $2 in savings. Week 11, we'd put $11 into savings, and so on up to week 52, or $52. Several people said that they were going to run it backwards, or start putting $52 in savings on week 1, $51 on week 2, $50 on week 3, all the way to the end of the year, so during the holidays the dollar amounts would be decreasing. So we're in week 25 this week. Our savings should reflect either $325 if we're saving forward, or $1,000 running it backwards. That's really planning. How is everyone doing with their savings plan? I hope we're all right on the mark. I know I'm always talking about planning and goals, probably gets old sometimes. But for most of us anyway, now is the time we can plan for that retirement or 20 years down the road. Our industry can afford us a great living, jobs that we can enjoy and provide for our families with. But, I think this goes for any profession or industry, we need to have an exit strategy, and that plan needs to be our own savings. Now, whether that be investments, stocks, 401ks, etc., it's our responsibility to take care of ourselves and our families, right? None of us want to be worrying about next week's paycheck on our 70th birthday. Plan now and play later is my philosophy. Well, I jumped plumb off the boat with today's topic, but I hope I answered the promotion question. I've always found that when we're looking for a new job, it's important to research that job and apply at the company that can meet all of our needs. And I think the same goes for that next step or promotion or changing departments. I think we need to know and understand what the job is and where it can take us. Well, that kind of wraps up today. Until next week, I'd like us all to not only think safe and work safe, but let's help someone else be safe too.